So the final part to maintain order in the house belongs to who? The presiding officer, right? And whatever action he takes with respect to fulfilling this duty of his to maintain order in the house, that is not subject to jurisdiction in any court of law. Functions of the speaker are more or less similar to the functions of the chairperson of both chairperson and speaker of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha respectively. They enjoy the same powers. Let's have a look. Some functions are very basic, or everybody is familiar with them. Functions, powers, duties of the speaker. Firstly, he presides over the meetings of Lok Sabha, and whenever there is a joint meeting held of the Lok Sabha Rajya Sabha, largely held to break a deadlock, which we will talk about on what are the situations in which joint sittings are held of the two houses. But he presides over the meetings of Lok Sabha, the first point, and plus whenever a joint session of Lok Sabha Rajya Sabha is held to break a deadlock with respect to the passage of a bill, etc. So then again the presiding officer is the speaker only. Correct? First function done. Then he has the final part to maintain order in the house. I have mentioned Article 122 over there. I'll make you read also. See, after all, the presiding officer is there to maintain decorum in the house, discipline in the house, order in the house. And to maintain order in the house, sometimes he has to take some difficult decisions also, call in the marshals. This has been happening in the recent past also. Marshals have to sometimes, some unruly members have become so indisciplined that they are not listening to the chair at all. They are disrespecting the chair also. Sometimes tearing off documents, bills, etc. So they have to be picked up and forced out also. Sometimes these extreme actions also have to be taken. So the final part to maintain order in the house belongs to who? The presiding officer, right? And whatever action he takes with respect to fulfilling this duty of his to maintain order in the house, that is not subject to jurisdiction in any court of law. Nobody can go to the court and say, I was unreasonably evicted from the house, marshals were called in and I was picked up physically and physically I was forced out of the house. Whatever action he takes with respect to maintaining order in the house, that is immune to judicial challenge. It cannot be questioned in any court of law. So just a moment. Have a look at Article 122. I am interested principally in Clause 2. Let's have a look at Clause 2. No officer or member of parliament in whom powers are vested by or under this constitution for regulating the procedure or the conduct of business or for maintaining order in the parliament shall be subject to the jurisdiction of any court in respect of exercise by him of those powers. So whatever action he takes to maintain order in the house, including that extreme action of evicting members forcibly by calling in the marshals, which has happened with some very disturbing frequency in the recent past also, right? So no such action is subject to jurisdiction of any court of law. This cannot be challenged anywhere. Are we okay over here? Will not be subject to jurisdiction of any court. Go further. Okay, so final part to maintain order in the house. Then of course, I think you are familiar with the fact that the speaker also has this absolute power, which we'll discuss later, because this is a power which in the recent past, many of the opposition figures and constitutional experts, they have said it's been abused also. Final part to decide whether a bill is a money bill or not. You know this thing, once a bill is labelled as a money bill, Rajya Sabha has no powers over it. It can only delay the passage of the bill by a maximum period of 14 days. And to avoid any kind of deadlock with the Rajya Sabha, if tomorrow the speaker starts labelling regular bills also as money bills, so this is unconstitutional act. We're getting the idea over here. But he has been given the final part to decide whether a bill is a money bill or not. Like in the recent past, Aadhaar bill was passed as a money bill, insolvency bill was passed as a money bill, even though many people said that they are not actually money bills, but they were labelled as such and passed as such to avoid Rajya Sabha being given the right to vote down that bill or reject that bill. But that part we'll discuss separately when I come to Rajya Sabha and what are the problems which are facing the parliament collectively, right? But he has the final, and this is an absolute power, unguided power, uncontrolled power, right? Final power to decide whether a bill is a money bill or not, right? Then fourth point, you're all familiar with this, we have discussed this earlier also. ADL stands for anti-defection law. So much like the chairperson of Rajya Sabha, the speaker of Lok Sabha decides all cases under if MP has become guilty of violation of anti-defection law. Simple point, right? Then he decides who shall hold the floor. Hold the floor, you recall in while we were discussing the Schedule 10 as such, anti-defection law, I introduced you to certain terms like holding the floor, yielding the floor, crossing the floor. Holding the floor is when you have been duly authorized by the speaker to speak on the floor of the house. So who decides who will get the opportunity to speak on the floor of the house, and then who decides when that speaker will cease his speech, yield the floor and then allow somebody else to hold the floor or to speak. So holding the floor, if you go back to my lectures, you will find that explanation over there also. Holding the floor basically means after being duly permitted by the speaker, you are speaking on the floor of the house, right? So he decides who shall hold the floor and speak on the floor of the house, right? Then he also decides the time to be allotted to various items on the agenda of the house. In fact, in both the houses, we have a specific committee, separate committee exists in both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. It's called the Business Advisory Committee. The Business Advisory Committee is principally responsible for deciding the timetable, what items on the agenda of the house will be taken up at what point of time during the course of a week, during the course of a session, during the course of a day, for that matter. And this Business Advisory Committee is in both houses headed by the presiding officers. So what time should be allotted to various items on the agenda? This is up to the speaker, presiding officers. In fact, in both the houses, we have dedicated committees for this purpose. Business Advisory Committee existing separately in both houses, not a joint committee. And the presiding officer is the ex officio chairperson of this Business Advisory Committee. More about this committee when I come to the topic of parliamentary committees. Correct? Point is clear, I hope. Achha, whatever you say on the floor of the house, one interesting thing is, whatever an MP, MLA, whatever, whoever says anything on the floor of the house, it is recorded for future reference, for posterity, future generations. Who said what thing, what point of time, in which parliamentary debate, over what bill, over what resolution motion, everything is on the record of the house, it is recorded, it is published, right? But if, let us say, some member of parliament says something very objectionable, unparliamentary language he uses, some very improper language he uses, or says something which is beyond the norms of constitutional propriety, so then the speaker, presiding officer in both houses can, because the people who are recording whatever is being spoken, they are sitting there only. So the speaker the presiding officer has the final right to expunge, to remove those objectionable remarks from the records of the house. That's another story, because the proceedings of Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha are being telecast live. If you have said something objectionable, people have already heard it. Only thing is that that will not be recorded for the purpose of the records of the house, the written record of the house as to who said what. So who has the right to remove those things? That they will not be recorded, they will be expunged from the records of the house. Any objectionable remark, any unparliamentary language, any inappropriate language, anything that flirts with the boundaries of constitutional propriety, etc., etc. So the speaker has the right, presiding officer in both houses, they have the right to expunge such remarks from the records of the house. Right. So see here, he has the right to expunge objectionable remarks, unparliamentary language, any expression you can use from the records of the house. Next point, the speaker decides all points of order. Now, what is a point of order? There are certain rules according to which the parliament functions. Lok Sabha, Rajya Sabha, they have their own set of rules, separate rules. Rules are more or less common, similar types of rules are there, but in some areas the rules are somewhat different also. The idea is that both the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha have their own rules of business, rules of conduct of business. Correct. And whatever is being done in the house has to be done in accordance with those rules. Unless those rules are changed, there is a specific rules committee also in both houses. And those are also chaired by the speaker and the presiding and the chairperson of Rajya Sabha. Separately, they have these committees. They are not joint committees. They can, rules committee can also recommend changes in rules also. But till such time a rule is there and that governs the conduct of some proceedings in the house, the proceedings have to be conducted as per that rule. If an MP feels, if any member of the house feels that the proceedings of the house are not being conducted as per the rules in that regard, let us say some bill, resolution, debate, motion, etc. It's being tabled in the house and there are some rules which have to be adhered to while going through with this entire business. So if an MP feels that some rules are being violated or not being properly adhered to, etc., he can raise a complaint. That complaint is basically a point of order. Right. So who will he raise the complaint to? The presiding officer only. He will tell the presiding officer that this is not appropriate, this is not in accordance with the rules which have been made in this behalf, and that the speaker or the presiding officer must administer some corrective action, make the change or restore the rule-based order in the house. If the speaker or the presiding officer, he accepts that point of order, then it's his responsibility to administer that the corrective action to ensure that the rules are properly adhered to. If he does not accept it, then the proceedings go on as they were going on. Right. So what is a point of order? Where it's a complaint made by an MP to the presiding officer, where he feels that in the conduct of some proceedings, some rules of business which are relevant to those proceedings are not being followed appropriately, or it's up to the speaker to finally accept whether the point of order is maintainable. And if it is, it's up to the speaker finally to administer corrective action. So, correct. Next, simple point, speaker is the custodian of the rights and privileges of the house. Much like the chairperson is the custodian of the rights and privileges of the other house, that is the Rajya Sabha. So he is the custodian of the rights and privileges of the house and its members also. The speaker is supposed to be the custodian of that. Right? Move further. Next, he decides final decision making power with respect to what motions, resolutions, what are motions, what are resolutions, how they differ from each other. Later we'll talk about. So he decides which motions, resolutions, questions finally have to be admitted. The motions, resolutions, questions, they can be admitted firstly by giving a notice. Notice goes to the Secretariat of the House, Lok Sabha Secretariat, Rajya Sabha Secretariat. So Secretary Generals are there in both the houses who heads the corresponding secretariats. They are the ones who receive notices. And usually as a matter of routine, these are accepted also, right? But if there is a final question ki bhai, whether a motion, resolution, question has to be accepted or not, there is some dispute on that. So then the final deciding authority over there would also be the presiding officer. So the final decision as to whether a motion, resolution, question has to be admitted, it is of the presiding officer, speaker in Lok Sabha and chairperson in Rajya Sabha. And finally, at the level of states also, we have assemblies, legislative councils. They also have their own speakers. From time to time, there is no periodicity of this. From time to time, we hold something called the Conference of Presiding Officers. So all the presiding officers of all the state legislatures, legislative chambers put together, they gather together, possibly at Delhi or some other place also. And whenever they gather together for this conference is always presided over by the Speaker of Lok Sabha, not the chairperson. This is not a privilege of the chairperson of Rajya Sabha, that is Vice President, but the chairperson's position with respect to vis-a-vis the Conference of Presiding Officers of India is held by the Speaker of Lok Sabha. Done? This is over. Right? The functions are over more or less. Let's continue further.